Hey gang, back with another video for you today. Today I'm talking about a designer fragrance collection, a signature designer fragrance collection for men, and that is the Givenchy Gentleman Givenchy collection of fragrances. There's 4 now, and today I'm going to talk to you about each of these, which started out with the Eau de Toilette here. This is Givenchy Gentleman Givenchy Eau de Toilette. Then we went to the Eau de Parfum, this one right here. Then the Cologne launched, this right here. And then finally we have the Edp Boisee, this one right here. So today I'm going to tell you about these 4 fragrances and also tell you which one is my favorite, so I'm ranking them. So if you're curious to learn about these 4 designer fragrances for men, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today I'm talking about Givenchy Gentleman Givenchy series of fragrances. When the first one was launched in September or late August of 2017. Fast forward like 8 or 9 months, not even a year, they launched the EDP version. So this is the EDP, this is the Eau de Toilette. EDP Eau de Parfum. Then last year they launched the Cologne, this one right here, which I really love. I love the way this smells. And then finally this year it's the Boisee, the EDP Boisee. So it's a pretty solid collection, although I didn't really start digging it until the EDP launched in 2018. And I find the Cologne to be great as well. So I'll tell you all about these 4, but before we do that, if this is your first time tuning in and you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So up until this collection or this series started, I never really got into the previous series, although I did get one of them, the Intense, from the previous collection, but that was pretty much it. And I had, from a long time ago, the very first Gentleman Givenchy from the 70s, which is like a powerhouse patchouli animalic kind of a fragrance. But this series kind of, I feel like, went in the direction of Dior Homme with the iris and things like that. And now that Dior Homme has changed completely, I feel like this series is changing too. They've done this series now multiple times. They had Givenchy Gentleman and now it's back to Gentleman Givenchy, so it's a little confusing. The bottles are similar, although the bottles have been pretty kept up similar since the 70s, but now we have these 4, and I didn't really get excited about this one, even though I did buy it and I did do a review of it, and it didn't really do it too much to me. It kind of reminded me of Dior Homme, but this one launched in 2017. It is Eau de Toilette concentration. Currently you can probably get a bottle of this for around $65, 100 ml at the discounters, and I think it's around $100 as a full suggested retail purchase. This one features iris, pear, lavender, leather, cardamom, vanilla, and patchouli. So, I mean, it was a decent release. It was on the fruity side because that pear really does pop. You can totally smell it. And it has that powdery, irisy kind of elements in there. And, you know, it was fairly decent, but it didn't really wow me because even with the Dior Homme collection, I really do enjoy the Intense and the Eau de Parfum. You know this about me. So I got really excited when they launched the Eau de Parfum in 2018. So this one actually took it to a new level and actually deepened it and richened it up, like made it a lot more richer. And they added the vanilla and the Tolu. And the Tolu, if you don't know this note, I've spoken a lot about this note. We have a full video on the channel about resins and balsams, and Tolu is a balsam. It's a great balsamic note, which makes it and takes it into an oriental direction with, you know, the deeper, richer, ambery kind of touches. So you've got the vanilla and the Tolu here, but they still kept the Orris butter. Well, they do claim that there's iris in the original Eau de Toilette and Orris, well, actually, the funny thing is they mention iris, but it still comes from the actual roots, the Orris roots. So in the end, you're still dealing with the same thing. But I feel like this one, compared to this one, no fruits at all here. This is fruitier. This is a little powderier, but this one goes buttery, ambery, balsamic. But you know, you have the black pepper. It's pretty prominent. Patchouli comes in as well. And everything is playing really nicely with it. Tonka beans do come in as well. Tonka beans do have a slight nutty quality to them, but there are also spices here, cloves and cinnamon. And then there's aromatic touches with lavender. I feel like this is a solid release. Great release. It smells great. It does take it to another direction, like it's going into a direction of Dior Homme Intense, but they're different. You know, Dior Homme Intense does not have Tolu, and I can't remember the exact notes, but I do know that that fragrance didn't have the Tolu. But you know, this is solid. This is solid, and I feel like the notes, the vanilla, Tolu, black pepper, because it's very peppery here, patchouli, all work really wonderfully together. It's got pretty decent longevity. It's not like a beast or anything, but you know, with designers, that's what we're going to get. We're not going to get anything beast mode. At least not a lot. We do have a few exceptions there, but this one I feel like it's a solid release, and out of the whole collection, it's my favorite. This is my favorite, not only for the wearing experience, but also for a smell out of the 4 fragrances I'm going to talk to you about. So this is Gentleman Givenchy Eau de Parfum, which launched in 2018. The third fragrance that came out in this series was the Cologne, this one right here. And this one actually, it's such a, you know, it kind of dissimilar to the other fragrance I keep talking about, Dior Homme series. Dior Homme series has a cologne, of course. Givenchy Gentleman Givenchy also has a cologne. It's like they're trying to milk us as much as they can and try to get us to spend money on all these different flankers. Basically, it's become flanker city with a lot of these designer fragrances these days. But you know, this one actually is quite pleasant, and it smells great, and it's a great wearing experience in the summertime. This came out in 2019. Last year, it's Eau de Toilette concentration, even though it's called Cologne. This is Gentleman Givenchy Cologne. This has notes of bergamot, iris is back, lemon, Petitgrain. Petitgrain is great. It's a greenish kind of a bitter, a leafy note from the citrus tree, orange tree. Vetiver, Ambroxan, Rosemary, Musk. Now, I do get complaints from you guys saying this does not last. I do agree. I feel like this one works the best in the heat, really hot days. Then the longevity becomes better. But if you have issues with longevity with this one, you know, even though it's eau de toilette, it acts more like a cologne because that's what it's called. I would actually advise you to layer it on top of Ambroxan. If you have something like Eccentric Molecules Molecule 2, this has Ambroxan in the notes. I feel like if you layer it on top of Ambroxan or, you know, Eccentric Molecules 2, you will extend the life of the fragrance. Not only will the Ambroxan or the Eccentric Molecules 2 act like a primer, it just adds more depth, and it takes it into kind of a slightly ambery, more woody, powdery kind of a direction. I feel like Ambroxan goes in that direction, and it'll extend the life and just, you know, like enhance the smell. It will be a little less citrusy because you're adding it on top of this Ambroxan note, but in the end, it'll kind of all mix together and it'll extend the life of the fragrance. But for me, I wear something like this when it's really hot outside, extremely hot, sweaty, and rarely here in San Francisco. And I haven't traveled much this year to any place, and we haven't really had a lot of heat wave here. But last summer, I was, you know, visiting my mom where she lives in a really hotter climate, and I would wear something like this, and it would actually work great. It's not like beast mode or anything. You're not going to get that from designers ever. But this one, I would get around 4.5, 5.5 hours at the most in very hot heat. But if you wanted to extend it, and I feel like it does extend the life at least an hour, if not an hour and a half with the Ambroxan. Just be advised, it does change the smell a slight bit, because even though Ambroxan in Eccentric Molecules 2 doesn't have too much of a smell, I feel like it does when it's combined. No, I smell it actually. It smells very kind of like woody, ambery, aquatic kind of combo, and it'll definitely enhance or change the smell. The other fragrance you can try it with is not a perfume from Juliet Has a Gun. So if you have these two Ambroxan fragrances, or just wear Ambroxan on its own, I feel like you can layer this on top of it and it'll extend the life. But this is my second favorite of the collection, and you know, I have to tie the other two as number 3, because the Eau de Parfum Boisee, which is this one right here, even though I really like that cacao note in here, I feel like there's something cheap, really like cheap in the background, like trying to come out. Then it starts becoming similarly smelling to other designers, like very mass market designer fragrances that I never talk about on this channel. But the Cacao here takes it to another level, along with that kind of cheap smell that's in the background. So they gave us Cacao, which was really taking it to a great direction, but they added something in the DNA or in the background that kind of cheapens the fragrance, which sadly I can tolerate it, which sinks it down to the level of the original Eau de Toilette, which in the end, which one is the better one? Neither one is the better one. I find them very equal with the fragrance, performance and also the smell. But this one came out in 2020, and it's again, it's called Gentleman Givenchy Eau de Parfum Boisee. So this one features iris, cacao, sandalwood. There's woody notes, black pepper, patchouli, geranium, cedar, coriander. And the thing with this one is, the name Boisee means wood in French, so basically they've amped up the woody notes, but it's got a kind of a very synthetically cheap smelling woody kind of a smell in here. I mean, it's good, it's not great. That's why I find it's very equal to the original Eau de Toilette. The original Eau de Toilette, again, they have similar smells here. It's all kind of like a similar DNA. They're just, changing the notes up, adding more woods and the cacao. This one actually was really hoping that it would work great, but sadly it kind of falls flat. So in the end, my favorite turns out to be the Eau de Parfum, which came out in 2018. My second favorite is the Cologne, which came out last year, 2019. Then, of course, the original Eau de Toilette from 2017, and the Boisee, Eau de Parfum Boisee from 2020 are tied in third place. So let me know if you're fans of this collection. I know it doesn't have as much of a hype as the Dior Homme collection did, or Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum. Even the Dior Homme Cologne, I feel like this kind of goes into the direction of Dior Homme Cologne, but then it doesn't, and it's kind of similar inspiration, because Dior Homme Cologne is very lemony but powdery with the iris. This one is similar too, but they did add some interesting notes with this one, like the Petitgrain. There's also the Cologne from L'Homme Idéal, Guerlain. All three of these brands are from the same parent company of LVMH, so obviously they would do all these colognes, but sadly Guerlain discontinued their cologne. I'm not sure why they did that, but this is what we are at. Anyway, let me know if you like this collection for men. And also, I wanted to tell you guys that I haven't been focusing a lot on designer fragrances. I'll get back to it. Here we have the pandemic, still, alive and kicking here in this country, so I don't think there's a lot of new fragrance releases, so I'll kind of get back on track and review some more designer fragrances. And I'm also going to do a few ladies fragrances, and also some top 20s with designer fragrances. So look forward to those. But let me know if you like this collection and which one is your favorite, or did you just dismiss this collection and you're not a fan of it? I'd like to find out. And if you like a good quality fragrance, as I mentioned, this is definitely pretty good quality for a designer. I really do love this one. Smells great, and I love that combination of the vanilla and Tolu balsam with the black pepper. They really work wonderfully together. It's a great ambery, vanillic, powdery, balsamic, spicy concoction. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this video today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.